there, I'm Carole Osborne, the author of Pre- and Perinatal Massage Therapy, and what I have for you today in this video is the top 10 tips that I have learned in my 2 years or so of using this wonderful side-lying system. And most of this applies to side-lying positioning, whether you're using the Oakworks side-lying positioning system or perhaps you're using pillows. So first of all, and these are not in ascending or descending order, we want to have our table at a correct height. I recommend that you bring your height to somewhere between your fist and your knuckles. Somewhere right in there is a great place to align and heighten your table. I always put my cushion on the far edge where I want my client's back to be. That means that when she gets on the table, then we're going to have her back where I'm going to be working, much more convenient to me so that I'm not leaning over the table like I'm doing right at this moment. I usually cover the torso cushion and the head cushion with a flat sheet, as you can see here, and I drape and sculpt it across the system so that all of the advantages of the breast recess, the space between the torso and the head cushion, and then this lovely cutout here are accessible for when I get my client on the table. Now that little finesse is the third or the fourth point here, is that we want to have the client centered on this cushion. There's this great section of memory foam in here that forms a wonderful supportive cradle around firmer sides. So if you can get the client right in the center of that, they are going to be most comfortable and very, very stable. So as Molly comes in to get on the table, Molly, what I want you to do is to be sure that you lay right down in the center of this and get your arm right here. All right. So Molly did just what most clients do. She listened, but maybe I wasn't quite clear, or something about that didn't quite appeal to her. So my next tip for you is to be sure that you get the client centered. Well, to get the client centered here on the cushion, I'm going to have her move. And when she moves, if I don't hold on to this cushion, she's going to move the cushion with her. So I'm going to hold the cushion in place and ask Molly to come to the center of the cushion. That's beautiful. And now her body will be cradled by the firmer sides here, and it's going to provide better support for her hip. Notice that she got on here. This is tip number 5, is to make sure that you're using the pectoral girdle space that's available in here. And she's almost on this well. Now, Molly, I'm going to hold the cushion again. I'd like you to move just an inch or so further towards the head of the table. Good, and let your whole, beautiful. So did you see how I got her whole shoulder to fall into the space between the two of them? And now here we go on tip number 7, is to take advantage of this cutout. I'm going to let you peek at that so that you can see it. That little cutout here in the head cushion. And that little cutout is made to fit over the shoulder and provide a nice support for the cervical area. So all I'm going to do here is take this cushion, and Molly, lift your head just a bit. And there we go, and put it down. And how's that? Is that better?
Right.
All right. So I brought that little lip over her shoulder and under her neck so that she's got the cervical support that this is designed for. So the next tip on this is, so we're on number 8 now, is to get the leg bolster. I usually like to have the leg bolster so that I have the legs with the bottom leg or the table side leg somewhat stretched out and then the top leg resting here. Notice when I do that and her leg is lower than her hip level that there is a bit of rotation in her lumbar spine. So what I'll do is to add an additional pillow support. This is part of the system too. And I'm going to bring those supports and not only put that underneath Molly's knee, but I'm going to make sure that the leg bolster and this pillow are really anterior of her thigh. That way her leg won't slide off. So I'm just hooking under her arm, this is her leg, under her leg, and moving that so that it's way under her thigh. And then I'm going to add, face cradles are not used very much in side lying positioning, so they make a lovely little prop for a foot, which brings her foot and her knee and her ankle even with each other. So that was tip number 9, getting the hip and the knee and the ankle lined up. And finally, what I like to do is check to see if my client's hip has a lot of space. Molly's does, and it's being supported here. Her hip joint isn't against the table, and if it were, I could perhaps add this little wedge here. And another little comfort spot for the hands and the arms is the table side arm. Sometimes floats up a little bit. See how yours has some space there, Molly? I'm just going to take that little wedge there and relax that, and that gives your arm something to rest on. And how about the other arm too? Would it like a little pillow too?
That's wonderful.
Lovely. All right. So that takes us through the top 10 tips that I can give you on getting your client really comfortable and really stable, and then you can do your best work. Thank you.